Time for My Life this afternoon, and it's a bit of a revisit really for this gentleman, Martin Link from Eastbourne, who came in back in January 2016 to talk about his first book, which was Misdirection, and unfortunately got a day that Alison Ferns was off, and so was interviewed by me, and he's come back in with the third book in the sequel on a day that Alison Ferns is off, and it's been lumbered with me. So bad luck, Martin, you never get to meet, and you bought her chocolates as well.
Do my best.
Do your best. Shame, because she's not here, she can't have them. So we'll have to have to share them among the people who are here, mainly me and him out there. How are you? Nice to see you again.
I'm very well, thank you, Joe. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm not too bad. Now let's just go back then to the first book here and give us a little bit background to you, because memory serves that you'd had sort of aspirations to be a writer, but it never really happened.
No, that's right. It was leaving school back in 1975.
Yes.
Back in the day. I always wanted to write. I always felt I wanted to write. But the English teacher there, bless her heart, said, whatever you do, avoid the English language.
Yes.
Stick to maths and sciences. So that's what I did. And, went through life being an engineer, doing electronics, computer studies, things like that.
And to a point, that served you well.
It served me very, very well. Got married, had 3 wonderful sons. But I still had this itch of writing a book. And nearly 40 years later, got down and wrote it. So. And
how long did the first one take you to write? And was that people say, there's or the saying is there's a book in everybody. Yes. But was this the book you'd been waiting to write, or was it just this is the book you happened to write? If you see what I mean, was this the story that had been bubbling away in you since 1975? Do you think?
Not from then. No, it was probably later on during my career that I felt I had a story that would be good and be interesting. And I've always been a great fan of James Bond and that sort of genre of films.
Yeah.
So I have that leaning as well. But yeah, I'd say probably the story was in my head for 15 years, 20 years, and then finally got to sit down and annoy everybody by hiding away and writing.
And how long did it take you when you finally sat down to do it? Were you kind of the person who just... Because whenever I interview quite a lot of authors doing this, some of them amaze me because they say, oh, no, I'm very disciplined. I set an alarm and I go down the garden at about 9 o'clock and I write for 3 hours, and then I come out... I think if I was sent to a room to write for 3 hours, I would come out with a bit of paper that looks like that. I think I'd be the kind of author who'd be up all night for a fortnight, writing, and then come back and pick the bones out of it.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I did try and do a little bit of studying to work out, what should I do? How are there ways to write? And to me, it seems to fall into 2 camps. One is you pre-plan everything to the nth degree.
Yeah.
So maybe you do a series of 4 books, you plan them all out, all your characters, what they wear, what their parents are like, everything. Or you sit down and write. And I'm the latter of those. I sat down and wrote and carried on, but if I couldn't write or didn't feel it was there, any ideas were there, I just wouldn't bother and just go and do something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, it took me a long time, I suppose probably 3 to 6 months to write the first end-to-end draft, which was the end of 2011, but it didn't get out for sale until 2014. Because of redrafting and trying to make it readable, to be perfectly honest.
Well, we're kind of there's 2 themes here. Then there's the English teacher, and you told me during the record there that your grasp of grammar and sort of language is what's proved a stumbling block, and was initially what the English teacher told you to avoid English for. But also that style of creative writing, and then going back and try to dot the I's and cross the T's, I suspect is practically a lot more difficult than doing the other way, which is sitting down with a huge chart and planning it all out, which is why people do it the other way.
Well, I guess so. I think it just is how people work themselves.
Yeah.
And if you're happy with one way, then don't change it.
No.
For example, as you know, I write in the first person present, and one of my biggest problems with that is getting the tense right. And I can change tense 3 times in the same paragraph if I try hard enough. So that is a huge problem for me. I struggle with timescales sometimes. One classic one was I flew by plane to the States and I landed in New York before I left. So that was pretty good.
Wasn't there another one in the first book? I remember last time you told me that it was to do with the exit slip on the motorway, and your editor said, well, if you went off the motorway in America on that side, you'd kill yourself.
Exactly, yeah. I took the left slip road off the motorway in New York. But yeah, there's lots of things like that. But then again, you talk to people about these things, and I personally think, well, at least I believe I can get a good story down that people will enjoy, and then employ editors, and they're brilliant at editing, but some editors may not write. So I guess it's horses for courses.
Absolutely, it's like singers and producers and songwriters and everything else in life, isn't it? Directors
exactly,
and actors.
Yeah.
And so when you started Misdirection, did you think I want to be able to link this into Credence, which was the second one that came out last year, and Seize, as in Seize the Moment, which is the third, which is out this summer?
Yeah. When I started with Misdirection, I thought that would be my book, to be honest. I thought if I could actually write a book, I've achieved my goal.
Yeah. So something
if
off the
people
bucket
actually
list.
liked it as well, happy days.
Yeah.
As I got towards the end and more people saw it and I got more feedback, it was a consensus, if you like, that it was half good. So as I got towards the end of the book as a story, or redrafting the end of the story, because these things are a little bit malleable towards the end, I thought, I'll leave the ending almost finished, if that makes sense. So,
sort of ambiguous, so that if this is the only book, it's not...
it wouldn't be the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world, but there's an option to come back.
Yeah. And then with again, as you read off, I'd have little ideas and think, actually, that'd be good, and sort of take threads through from the first book to the second one. But I still had, even when I started the second one, I had no real idea of the third one. And the same for the fourth one.
As the third one that comes out, because I know this is something that you can intend to continue doing, but are we done with this particular character and story, or could it go on and on? Or don't you want to say?
Well, it's a bit... No, I'd love to know what is holding out in the future for me for the books. But at the moment, probably the fourth one, I'll stop at that point. I would like to try a few other things. Yeah. And a couple of people, a lady who's editing the third one for me at the moment, Lou, she's very interested in one of the characters. And she said, why don't you look at developing that character or do a prequel for that character? And again, these are things that I would never have thought of.
No, so the doors are opening.
Actually, that sounds quite a nice idea. Yeah. So I like the genre, I like the stories, I like the characters. So, but I think you can take things too far.
Interesting, was that character one that you thought was particularly strong? Because, of course, what you like, or what you would perceive as a good character might be, I don't like that one. But would you have singled out that one as the one that she did, to have legs for the future?
Absolutely not.
No, really?
No,
it's interesting, isn't
because there's the way I've tried to do it is to have... I think you always have a lead character, however you try to do these things. And there's a male as a lead character, a female is if you like, second lead, and then the third and fourth male female. And this is a if you like, a second level male character.
Okay.
And yeah, it's an interesting concept to do something at that level rather than like Morse going to prequels, but it was still Morse. Yes. This would be a prequel, but of a character making that team. As you were saying.
And it's just interesting, different sort of perceptions. Because I love, you mentioned Morse there, I love Endeavour, the prequel to it, but I didn't, as much as I like Kevin Whately, I never got on with Lewis particularly well.
No.
And I felt that in that they kind of tried to make him more interesting than he was. But you know what I mean? I don't know whether...
I do like Endeavour a lot. I think that's good. Also, I like that era.
Yes, I do.
So in some ways, I've sort of got a bit of a hankering to go back to that era with a character. So originally I thought my lead character's father would have been the route I would have taken, but
you might explore Lou's suggestions. And just finally then, it seems that for someone who maybe had the confidence slightly knocked out of them, you've been quite open about your writing since you started to do it again in 2010, 2011, because you've had to show people, I suppose. And has that been quite cathartic for you? And sounds very positive from what we've heard with Lou's editing, at least.
Yeah, I found it fantastic. There's no two ways about it. And I would say to anybody, if you think you have a book that you want to write, go and write it. If you don't think it's great, then whatever. At least have a crack at it, try and get it done, and show it to people, because people are very generous.
And who did you join writing clubs before you showed it to it? You did.
Eastbourne Writers, New Eastbourne Writers, which Lou runs. Had a few people there give me feedback. Friends and family give you feedback. But quite often, the best feedback you get is independent from family. Because obviously, people can be more open.
Yeah.
And the more open, the better, to be honest.
I don't want to upset Dad.
No, exactly.
No, people who love you, I understand. Yeah. So it's a more objective thing.
But it's a very, very positive thing to do. And I love people to do it. It's great.
All right. Well, look, well done, and look forward to the third one coming out.
Thank you.
So we started with Misdirection, Credence last year. We've got Seas this year, maybe a fourth one, and then maybe a bit of a spin-off character, and we'll see what happens there. But more information about you, you've got a website, which is martinlink.co.uk.
It is. Thank you very much.
And join, have a go would be the message.
Absolutely. Have a go. And if you get a bit of criticism you don't like, because you'll see from reviews I've got on Amazon, some of them are great, some of them are middling, a couple a little bit harsh, I feel, but then it's my baby, so you get a bit attached. But you have to sort of take that on the chin. It does sting a little bit, and you sort of mull it over and think, have I done the right thing? But overall, the books have been received well, and I'm having fun doing it anyway. So.
Once you stick your head above the parapet, then people always start to throw things, I'm afraid, in life. That's the rules. You should see some of the abuse we've had on the text this afternoon while I've been on the radio. martinlink.co.uk. Why don't you pick a name out of the hat and see who you've got for Baby Wales?
Oh, thank you very much.
And I'll give you the odds on the name you've selected. What have you got there?
Trevor.
I don't think, no.
Outstanding.
100 to 1, Martin, is Trevor, according to the local bookies. It could be Trevor Wales. Martinlink.co.uk is the website. We'll see you again, maybe with a new book. Thank you so much.